Hi, Jim Ziegler, the Alpha Dawg, and this is the Dawg Pound. Fasten your chin straps, check the security of your seatbelt. The roller coaster's leaving the station. No turning back now, folks. Okay, this week we're going to talk about technology partners and technology solutions and other mythologies. Okay, to my right, I don't know how it works out on the screen. This is the Brady Bunch. We've got my good friend, Bill Wittenmyer, homeless these days, formerly with eLead CRM.
Jim, it's retirement, and that's a fancy word for unemployment. So
unemployment. Are you looking for a job?
Yeah, for sure. Look, in all seriousness, I do want to get back into the game. One quote, which is, I don't miss the game, but I sure do miss the locker room, for sure.
I'm hiring, just so you know. We can talk about it later.
Okay, I got to tell you, this is one of the most competent executives of any vendor I've ever dealt with. And I'm not always high on the vendors, and I'll call them as I see them. I've never been shy. If you're looking for a top level executive that can run things, turn it on, stand on the back wheels and spin the tires, this is the guy.
Thank you, Jim. That's way too kind, and you're setting the bar way too high.
No. Okay, direct from Moscow. No. In Pennsylvania today, not in Spain, not in the Kremlin, but the mad Russian himself, the F&I guru. I'm talking about the product reinsurance king, Max Zanan. Hello, Max.
Hey, Jim. Thank you for this awesome introduction. I am a legend in my own mind.
Oh, absolutely. I still haven't figured out whether you're one of those Russian sleeper cells meddling with the elections.
I can't tell you. I can't tell you.
Talk about some of these technology companies that I'm going to need you and your friends to get up in their servers and just.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the most competent female executive managers in the industry, one of the very best. She couldn't be here today, but we did get Jennifer Briggs.
Listen, she was busy,
I can't.
planning for some stuff. But hi, excited to be here.
This woman can do it all. I mean, we've got some of the most powerful women executives in the industry on this broadcast today. Trust me. Notwithstanding Laura Hayes from CF Search Marketing. Hello, Laura.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Jim, for having me. I'm excited.
Well, I'm excited that you're here. I was rooting around your Facebook page and saw you on the boat.
Yeah, I was down. I was finally able to get down to our South Florida office and had one day of sunshine and got out on the boat. It was fun.
Absolutely. It looked like a lot of fun. And the queen of BDC, Business Development Center. I mean, many other skills and talents, but BDC is her focus. If you want to turn on your BDC, just shut up, write the check, hire this woman.
Yeah, that's great
Bobbie
advice.
Herron.
Fantastic advice. Hello.
And where are you today, Bobbie?
I am at Jennifer Briggs' house today, hijacking her daughter's bedroom.
So you two are in the same location, different rooms.
Yes, we got the main check time.
Oh, Anthony Santangelo just checked in on the sidebar. Hello,
Hi,
Anthony. Okay.
Hi, Anthony.
And the Highline used car guy, the independent used car guy. I'm talking about the man himself. One of my proteges, actually, I call him Little Grasshopper.
Often.
Patrick O'Brien. Hello, Patrick.
Hello, Jim. Thank you. Thank you again for having me. And what a great panel this one's going to be. This is unbelievable.
Listen,
I love
Patrick
that
and I
haven't
started
seen
the
people in
conversation
center row.
earlier.
The last time I saw the people in the center row, it was literally a digital dealer in Las Vegas a few years ago. That was an interesting evening, to say the least. It was an interesting evening.
By the way, the dog has got I got a message from Digital Dealer. I will be speaking on the big stage at the next Orlando or Tampa, Florida Digital Dealer. I won't be in Vegas, but at the first time since 2019, I've been on stage. So I'm looking forward to that. And one of the local dealerships has hired me to do 2 days of in-store training for the first time in a couple years.
Very nice.
I'm so excited about that.
The dog is in the game again, you know.
You guys,
I'm gonna need to book
rescue status.
Jim, I'm gonna need to book some time next year.
Do what?
I'm gonna need to book some time with you next year.
Why?
Well, because you're back in the stores.
I'm back in the stores. Yes, you can. And yeah, I got the Jennifer discount lined up for you.
Jim. Hey, Jim, ask Jennifer what the next conference is she's going to.
Uh-oh.
You can't murder me. I'm in another room.
Shush your mouth.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I will be at CIADA, and I'm going to mess up the name. Please don't get mad at me. The what is it? UAAMG?
Okay.
What is it?
My best friend's a badass.
Too many acronyms.
Well, okay. No, I feel bad. Somebody messaged in there. It's Tracy Meyer's group, the mastermind.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Tracy Myers is a player in the independent world and in the automotive world in general.
I will be
Tracy.
there with them in August 5th and 6th.
Where is that? August 5th and 6th? That's going to be in the Carolinas?
Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Yeah.
Really? And give them a shout out. Everybody needs to sign up for that. Anyway. What if there's anything, and you know, a lot of things piss me off. Have you noticed that?
Let's jump right into it, Jim.
A lot of things piss me off.
You don't say, Jim. That's odd. I've never heard that before.
I get pissed off quite a bit, and I'm quite vocal about it. Max, have you ever noticed that in a 15
Never. This is all new to me.
There's two things that vendors say that piss me off. First thing that really pisses me off is when a vendor tells a dealer that I am your partner.
Except when I do it.
Yeah, you are. No vendor is your partner. Excuse me. And then the other thing that I really get pissed off about when I hear it is when a vendor says they are the solution. Excuse me. Most people that tell you they're the solution are the problem to start with. You know, and if there isn't a problem, they will create the problem.
And, you know, and going into that, you know, what Bobbie said and Jennifer had said off camera before we jumped into the show, you know, a lot of these vendors, how can they actually be the solution when they don't even know what the problem that they're actually providing a solution for is?
Well, that's why it's important to choose the right vendor instead of going to a 20 group or looking at something and being like, it works for this other store. Not everything that works for one is going to work for you unless you have the right people in process. You might not be a good fit. That's why we do automotive matchmaking.
So first of all, that's the number one thing. I just want to, before we get into this, because this is going to be a passionate conversation and I'm really excited.
Yeah.
But the product has to be last. If you've not evaluated first your people to ensure that you have the right people in the right role with the proper training and tools that they need and the right process, the product doesn't matter. The coolest piece of technology will be one giant turd in your dealership if you do not address people and process first.
Yep.
Trish,
and you have to have a commitment.
I just commented. Read it on the bottom of the screen there. I love it when they say we have technology that no one else has. Now,
I wish we would just say we know how to do it better and integrate it better and give you an option. This is such a frustrating topic every time because it's like even on the dealer side, I'm known for being real hard on vendors and on the relationships with dealers. To me, it's like, if you have a great product and you install it in a store that isn't ready, doesn't have people in process set up and doesn't onboard it right, it will fail and they will blame the product, even when it is not their fault. Every time.
The people have to use and Bill Wittenmyer, you can tell us about that because, you know, eLead CRM, one of the very best CRMs in history. And I mean, by all accounts, most people will agree with that. but it was a matter of who used it, how they used it.
It's all about commitment. Everybody makes some really good points here, and 100% correct. It's funny how many clients will blame the product when there's no accountability and there's no commitment inside the organization to begin with, and the worst part is the higher up you go, in a lot of cases, the less they know about whatever solution is being implemented. And then the problem is, in our business, especially on the retail side, we like to avoid new things and work and hard labor, and learning things is difficult. And then all of a sudden, if we don't want to do that, all I got to do is tell my boss that this is broken or this doesn't work. And they don't know enough about it in a lot of cases to be able to come back and counteract that. So all of a sudden, you're throwing everything out. So I think there's a huge part of that when it comes to whatever you're looking at. And it's so funny when people are changing from one product to another product within the same realm, and they expect something different's going to happen because it has a different sign on the box.
Right.
Or they'll have two of the same product doing slightly different things, but are competing with each other.
Sure.
I mean, I've seen dealers with 3 CRMs, and they're like, "Oh, that's for service. Oh,
yeah,
that's for this for the customers."
Right. This is for data mining, and
wait a minute, 3 CRMs.
And then like, this is for my BDC. And I'm like, all of that can happen under one system. It's insanity to me. I mean, I worked in dealership myself. We had at one point, unbeknownst to me, 3 CRMs.
But are those truly CRMs? Because what are they using in service? Because there's a bunch of half-baked technologies that if there was one that could complete it, like a lot of the CRMs for my service appointments, I need them to be able to see dispatching and to integrate for scheduling appointments. I don't know of any regular front of the house CRM that integrates to dispatching to someone.
Correct.
But Xtime does.
Yes.
But some of these other softwares do. So they're taking the place and they're filling a void, sort of, kind of, with a lot of leaks in it, right? But we don't have something. And I don't know that necessarily it would be great to see them all together, but those are different functions. But of course, I'm the lady who does not mix sales and service BDC either. 2 separate types of people, 2 separate types of processes. So I don't know if it's 3 CRMs, but definitely 3 technologies to try to accomplish a goal. And could they be better connected? Yes.
Yes.
Well, let me jump in a second here. Let me jump in a second. Okay, CRM. Now, I see a lot of people using CRMs, and Bill, we had a conversation before we got on the air here. We're talking about the fact that dealers aren't buying anything right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody agree with that? Dealers are not buying any new services. I mean, they're making so much money. They're selling. They haven't got inventory to sell. They're in a utopia situation. And vendor, what do I need a damn new vendor for? I got to get rid of the old ones.
Right.
They're
looking to cancel vendors.
Right.
They're canceling vendors. Absolutely.
It's an improvement part though right now, especially when you think about CRM. Like, this isn't a push, but let's be real here. 100% of the time we are customizing CRMs for dealerships nonstop, every single CRM, which is why I'm really brutally honest about them. Right now, when times are slower because of an inventory shortage, is the time to be customizing a CRM, cleansing it up, training the team on how to use it, creating buy-in, and then customizing the processes so that as we get busier, everything is more efficient and on a faster flow. And now's a great time to improve the CRM if you're on one that's crappy. There's not been a better time to do it. You have time right now.
Well,
I think that's a good point.
There are new CRMs coming into the market that are designed for right now.
Right.
I mean, there are some old stale CRMs that people are loyal to that platforms were never.
They're locked in, or they're locked into ridiculously long contracts.
But I want to know. Jim, I want your opinion. What makes those new ones coming out for right now, as opposed to the tried and true standards that so many people are accustomed to? What are the things that impressed you most about these new ones that are coming out?
This is about to get good.
Okay, well, what impresses me about some of the new ones, and I'm not going to say like drive centric versus V auto or something like that. I wouldn't say, or Vince Solutions. I wouldn't say that,
Yeah. No, I don't need
But
a
anyway,
versus. I just want to know what you think is
what I
good.
will say is, the texting, the one button operations, because a lot of the older model CRMs right now are having to put Band-Aids, and they're patching up, trying to keep up with the video, trying to catch up with digital retail. They're trying to catch up with one button operations where you don't have to switch screens. And some of the traditional CRMs are hiring other vendors to fulfill things they can't do that were never designed into the program. Bill, jump in there.
Yeah, it's about communication. I won't talk any names, but I think that's a huge area where there's been some leaps and bounds done in that part of the technology realm. I think integrations are really key. Bobbie was talking about earlier, and Jennifer was talking about earlier, when you look at all these other pieces that don't necessarily fit, we have to have specialized in service and specialized in the front, et cetera, et cetera. Those integrations, that's a huge key component, I think, when you're looking at, the modernization.
Pieces that don't fit the original design, you have to hire a third and fourth party vendor to come in. All of a sudden, you got a fifth party vendor, a vendor servicing a vendor who's servicing a vendor.
And I'd like to just say, just because they're all sold by the same parent company does not mean the integrations are going to be bad. We went through a massive change, DMS change, desking platform changes, e-contracting changes. We went through all of this last year during COVID, because while some people might say this is the time to cut back then and now, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, the rates are going to be so much cheaper for things because nobody's buying, and it gives me an advantage, right? Yep. So we've went through all of those massive shifts and changes, and we have even more coming in some business units right now. But even with the same, and I know how to integrate technologies, and I wanted to say some curse words. A lot.
Well, I think that's a really good point in taking advantage of the time right now. If you prepare, you eliminate pressure later on, and this is a great time to prepare because everything in the world.
That's a great quote there.
Everybody and everything. Nobody's in the middle of the room anymore. Everybody's out on the outside walls, and what I mean by that is, these pendulums seem to swing very far to one side and then to the other. And our business is no different. The inventory challenges that are out there, and the giant colossal grams all the dealers are sending themselves because of the great record months they're having, which I'm happy for. But the reality is, if you're not setting records right now, then you're probably going to be closed soon. And what's going to end up happening is this pendulum's going to swing the other way. The manufacturers are not going to sit around and wait for more used car sales to happen. They don't get paid on that. So next thing you know, there's going to be cars stacked up like cordwood in the next 6 months. And we're all going to have to try to figure out how to go back to selling cars as opposed to taking orders through the Wendy's drive-thru.
Right.
Well, and here's a warning as we're talking about CRM, because this is my most passionate topic. It's one of the things that I do very first thing before I will work with a store on operations, BDC, anything, is to customize CRM. Stop nominating people in your store, like your receptionist, that one BDC agent who has time, the person who's in charge of the BDC, to become a jack of all trades and touch the back of the CRM. Because here's the deal. The back of a CRM is kind of like that red phone on the president's desk. You touch one button and you just started a nuclear war and everything in your CRM. So I'm not saying to you, call me, hire me. I mean, if you were smart, you would, but I'm pretty sold out because other people are real smart. But if you're going to do it on your own, don't call your performance manager and say, hey, I need a process for this lead source. What would you put in? Why are you letting a data-driven technology person who's never worked in a dealership and who's not skilled in communication tell you what your cadence should be for when you talk to a customer based in store?
And even if they did, because a lot of these PMs have dealership experience, guys, but if it was a desk manager, they were only managing one department of your store. Yeah. You should not let that
get a desk manager to use the freaking CRM. They are not qualified to give you a cadence on how a lead source is supposed to be communicated with. Right. I used to be a desk manager, so I get it.
Yeah. I had to pull an overnight 12-hour shift recently because we had a brand new BDC manager and a brand new performance manager in one of my stores. And even though he was given the direction from corporate that no one other than corporate is allowed to make changes in the processes, he showed a brand new BDC manager how to push the red button.
Yep.
And Briggs didn't get to sleep and had to Band-Aid everything and give a peek on. Like that,
I mean,
that's not cool. Don't
And
you?
I missed
the guy on the big screen's got the floor.
I missed last week with you guys. I missed last week with you guys for this exact same reason. I couldn't join you guys last week because a manager that I don't know who gave him the access, because I'm the only one that's supposed to have it other than the owners and the GM, but he went in, he tried to change one thing in the process. One thing that, because it wasn't comfortable for him and how so he went in there and it took me 6.5 hours to, number one, find out what he broke and then to fix it himself. One of the very first things that Bobbie taught me when she taught me how to use the CRM properly years ago was, if you don't know, don't touch it.
If you don't know,
don't touch it.
Okay, look at this. Now I'm being hired. I haven't been hired yet. I'm still working the numbers. But the dealership that I'm working with here in Atlanta, that I'm probably going to go and do some training, I'm going to spend an entire day at the dealership, sitting at the sales desk, sitting in the BDC, sitting in the F&I office, watching their process before I go in and tamper with it.
Yeah.
100%.
Now think about that. I'm going to spend an entire day. I'm not going to go in there and just try to impose what I teach.
No.
Because I have consulted thousands of dealerships through the years, and every one of them is uniquely different with the processes.
Right.
You definitely have to tailor the process to the capabilities of the people that are going to be implementing them, the technology of what the dealership is, because we would all love to go in and say, Mr. Dealer, you need this technology, this person with this support, and we know we're not going to get all that. So sometimes you got to look at what they have, what their capabilities are, what their levels of being able to implement that. And again, it's top down. So, you can go to a BDC person, put this great process in, and they're all on board. And somebody 3 levels up can just destroy that with one.
Okay, well, CRM is not the only subject I want to talk about today. There's other technologies, everything from lead providers, the DMS. I keep hearing about Techion lately. I don't know much about Techion, but everybody seems to be raving about the Techion solution. So, I'm hearing all these new vendors popping up and people are raving about them. And I'm telling dealers right now, my advice to dealers is don't turn anybody away. When somebody knocks on your door, good advice. Don't look at every solution. Assign your general manager or your BDC internet director, have somebody interview every new vendor with an open mind, and because you're not loyal to a company, you are loyal to an individual that works to that company, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're not individual. You have a salesperson or a representative that you are loyal to.
That's a very good point.
That is a good point.
And it doesn't cost anything to listen.
You're doing things perfectly fine, but you're just inefficient, but you don't even realize your inefficiencies till you realize there's something out there that can do that for you or help you become more efficient.
Right.
Like everybody needs to have Max call on them.
Well, so Jim, here's my perspective, right? I think dealers.
I wanted to get some fire and brimstone here. Come on,
right,
Max.
right. Abrasive is my middle name. So I think that dealers, in many cases, are being naive, right? When they look for solutions because they think this is like a silver bullet. I'm going to replace VIN solutions with eLead, and eLead is going to make the magic happen, right? That will never happen, right? Unless you people actually commit to using the program. Like dealers would ask me, what CRM do you recommend? And I said, I recommend the one
that they'll use.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't matter, right? If you're not using it, same goes for lead providers, right? Listen, if you're not following up with the leads, it doesn't matter who the lead provider is. It's on you. It's all on you. There's this awesome book called Extreme Ownership.
Yeah.
right? And basically it tells you that you are responsible for everything. So stop looking for excuses and say, well, my BDC manager is clueless. My lead provider is terrible. My people are this. It's you, right? Your name is
run me the report to show me the data to support that claim.
Yeah.
And then we'll have
we can have the conversation. Yes.
Right. At the end of the day, you are the dealer principal. Your name is on the door. So the only person you got to blame is in the mirror.
Yep.
That's it.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, that is so true. I mean, because Alvarez just said that a CRM can be an index card box.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be.
It used to be. Yeah.
When I was selling
That's what it was
cars,
when I sold cars.
Bill Wittenmyer, give me a testimonial. When I was in the Coggin organization.
Yeah, you put a lot of records up that I had to try to go beat.
Tell the congregation about my records with the Coggin organization.
Yeah, F&I records I think are still held. That building is still down there. There's nobody in it anymore on the corner of the old Pontiac Buick GMC store. But yeah, we started with a box and cards. And I think that was a great point by Max. It's like, what's the best exercise? It's the one you're going to do, and that's the same with a solution. What's the best one? And the one that you're going to commit to and you're going to use. And a commitment is not during the installation or when they're there in the pitch and you're frothing because somebody's putting on a good show. It's what's happening a month down the road, 2 months down the road, et cetera. And that commitment, it has to be part of this lifestyle of the store.
Exactly. I mean, the point I was making is with a Rolodex and a 10 key, I could sell 30 cars most months when 30 cars was the bomb.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
but Jim,
very low technology.
Well, look, Jim, in some cases, what's happened now is, I don't want to use the word lazy, but what happens is we use some of this technology as a crutch and not in a good way, right? Instead of just picking up the phone and making the dials, we're doing emails and texts and things like that. And that's great, but are you really getting anything from that? Or are you just making yourself feel good that you did something, right? A lot of times you have to get on the phone.
I want to challenge something real quick for everybody to think about though, because your brain is not designed to do things that are difficult and hard. Your brain releases cortisol when that happens. That's why there's a 1%. And what happens here is it's not always that somebody doesn't want to do something or that they've lost a skill set in it. It's that we don't want to do things that are difficult and hard unless it's an intentional decision, which means new technology can be very hard to embrace and become habitual with because it's easier to do it the other way. The reason we could call off Rolodexes and sell 30 cars was because we actually made the phone call instead of pressing a button to fake it. What's happening right now is we're standing behind people, ultimately CRM technology anywhere with a task or whatever saying do this, but we're not giving the skill to know why you're doing that. We don't even teach people anymore that you slide the paper across the desk and shut your mouth because it's a control tactic. We just say do it. And then we wonder why people don't just do what we said, right? That doesn't work. That doesn't jive. Your brain is not designed to do things that are difficult and hard. It has to be an intentional effort if you want to change in behavior, and it doesn't matter what product you have.
And he who speaks Bobbie, first loses is lost.
Bobbie, that's a great point. With all the solutions and all the technology and all these things that are coming out and coming into market, the way that, like you just said, it's that adaptation to something that's difficult or different. And why they don't work at stores is because people are like, well, shit, that's way too hard. I'm not even going to bother doing that. And then as leadership, we don't hold them accountable for it because they go, well, 15 car Fred, he said it's too hard. So we don't want to run that off. We need those 15 cars. No, you don't.
Listen, I was at a store yesterday doing a performance review with the finance director for the store with the question of why are you not using e-contracting, having him keep a log of why. And it turns out, shocker, it's just hard because I don't know how. Wow. So it's faster if I type it. Bullshit, it is not faster to not e-contract that finance deal.
Right.
So okay. Now you have some work.
Okay,
right?
we're going a little off subject. Let's get back to the vendors, technology, solutions, and partnerships. Now, one thing I'm hearing is there's so much fake measurement out there. I have always said, figures lie when liars figure. You know,
So that's hard for me with my accounting and finance degree, right? Trained business analyst, accidental car guy.
Well, you are an analyst, but you know the first 4 letters of analyst.
You know, that's fine. It's been working for me really well.
I was going to say.
It hasn't, you know, it really has helped my growth. So I'm fine with it. But I think that there are a lot of people that are throwing around different metrics. And so what I always encourage people is identify the 5 most important, right? Whatever you're looking to grow in your dealership, identify those 5 most important metrics. And they don't have to be into the weeds, because if something is off in one of those 5, you can always request a deeper dive into the data. And this is where Patrick and I got started on the conversation before the show even started.
This was yesterday in the tribe, or 2 days ago in the tribe.
In the what?
I don't know.
Analysis paralysis, right? Even outside of all these vendors bringing reports and talking about this and doing that, or where are you even in looking at that? Start with 5. Every day you need to inspect that. And that whether that's your small operator and you get it yourself, or if you're a larger store stepping in as a general manager, GSM, these are the 5 metrics, and you need to request them from your team if that's the accountability point for you. But you have to see them and you have to know them every single day. You cannot get lost in the million different reports that vendors send you in your email. You can, I know Patrick was talking about this, getting lost in Google Analytics sometimes. You need to know, even in Google Analytics, if that's your chosen tool, create a custom dashboard that has the 5 things that you need to see, or maybe it's more than 5, but if you have a dashboard that puts it all on one page, and don't rely on a vendor to do it for you.
Right.
Well, I'd take that a step further. I think that's a really great point. But and I'm surprised by the number of dealers that I had been into over the years that relied on everyone else's stats and measurements and didn't create their own, right? Their desire, right? I mean, as a dealership, the really good groups and really good dealers, they establish their own points of where they need to be, and then they'll go find that data and see what it is. They're not relying on someone else's measurements or someone else's statistics to tell them what it is.
Because when they
right?
come in waving that piece of paper and showing attribution, I'm the one that contributed to your sale.
Sure.
It's funny because all these companies, everyone is claiming there's 5 of you that attributed to that sale.
Well, 78% of all statistics are made up on the spot.
Right.
Yes.
Jennifer, hold on. Before we go too far, Jennifer, mention the 5 things. I literally wrote it on my desk. I'm waiting for these.
Oh, it depends on your goal, Patrick. There's going to be 5 metric. Like if you're a used car guy, right?
Right.
So even though right now everything is turning like crazy, so you need to identify those 5 things. And actually, do you remember when I did plugging the 5 profit leaks in your pre-owned department?
Yes, I do. Yes.
I have that
share that recording that for you in particular, because you're doing just highline used cars. Those are some things that you as an e-commerce director now should be looking at in order to make your business spin faster and get the incremental growth without the growing pains.
But what about attribution? Now we started on that. Attribution, Auto Trader, Cars.com, lot links. Everybody comes in with attribution. You know, like we contributed 98% of your sale. All the cars you sold were our responsibility. And attribution is a real science, but there are some real frauds claiming attribution.
Here's my perspective on it. And I don't know if anybody else on the panel is a certified BI developer or trained analyst. So my opinion on this is from a very data perspective. Because these partners, they really only have one thing to contribute, and there's only one measurement, because the rest of it is on me, making sure I've trained my team to handle those lead sources appropriately and to handle those customers appropriately. What you should be focusing on with these vendors, I give no bleeps about whatever attribution they're showing you. You need to be tying them to a cost per lead.
Oh, Laura, you hear that? Cost per lead.
So, and now if it's a branding campaign, that's a little bit different. It's going to roll in to some of your other CPLs. But if you are not actively tracking the cost per lead of your sources, and then separately tracking your effectiveness for inviting those customers into the dealership or scheduling an on-site delivery with them, that's all on you. That has nothing to do with them. They cannot claim attribution for your sales. Period.
Yeah, that's information that you can put right into your CRM. You can put your all your sources, what you've paid for those sources, and your CRM can shoot you out a report every week, every day, every month, showing you who your lead sources are, what you invested in that source for that month. And back to keeping track of data yourself. One thing I always did inside my dealerships was track the data, again, the top metrics that I was most interested in. And obviously, and those changed based on the channels. So obviously, it was not the same metric across everything. So video has different metrics. Used car marketing had different metrics than new car marketing. I had all different types of metrics. I had these spreadsheets, but I always put what my budgets were. What did I change? What did I change? What did I ask the vendor to change? How did that affect my traffic, my leads? I never implemented too many changes at one time because you cannot measure what affected the.
Say that one more time, Laura. Say that one more time.
Say it again, Laura. Preach, Laura. Preach.
I mean, I have dealers that'll ask, let's change this, changed all my buttons. Let's put a new finance app on. Let's change my chat provider. Let's change all my budgets, and which is, it's one. And I'm not saying you can't flush, but the problem is when you have a good result. It's this. Okay, so here's the comparative that everybody who's been in the industry for a long time can attest to. I put my ad in the newspaper and I sold a bunch of cars that Saturday. Well, the newspaper didn't sell you a bunch of cars, but as soon as the person who placed that ad in the dealership made that decision, saw they had a good weekend, now that newspaper ad became a permanent part of.
Now it's got attribution.
There's your attribution.
We got attribution.
Right. But they never take into consideration all the other things that were happening, not even just that, regular consumer behavior. I mean, the bottom line is you always had a better last Saturday of the month than your first Saturday of the month. So I can't attribute it to the fact that you put a newspaper ad. So there's so many different things. There's market changes. Like right now, for all my clients, I'm making notes. Not that anybody's ever going to forget the pandemic, but it did affect different markets, different times differently. In the state of Pennsylvania, they closed dealers. Dealers could not sell a car online, even if they want to. They couldn't step in the building. They had to sit home. They could do nothing. Now in New Jersey, they could sell online. So I have notes about when those changes happened, when the dealers were allowed to come back in. What did the dealer do? What did they do with their marketing? Also, I talked to them about their ordering. Back then, I had some major, huge dealers who said not ordering a car. Now, I don't blame them. They had a lot with 600 cars. They didn't order any cars. Well, all of a sudden, we all know what happened to the market. It went crazy. These dealers have no cars coming into their inventory because they didn't order anything. I have these other guys who were little guys, always did good, not the best, but they did great. And they kept ordering cars. All of a sudden, they became number one in their district because they had the cars.
Because they bought the cars.
They had the units.
But you know what?
Everybody knows those are notes that I'll make all the time, and the dealer should be making in a Google Calendar, wherever it is that just stays there perpetually. And then when you can say, "Oh my gosh, we've been through this before. What did we do?" You can go back when God forbid the next pandemic ever happens. You could go back and say, 5 years ago, this is what I did. I stopped ordering cars and I screwed myself, and I'm never going to do that again.
And it goes right back into what Bill said earlier. Preparation now eliminates pressure later. So if they would have prepared then, they wouldn't be under the pressure that they're under now with no inventory.
Yeah, but how would they have known?
You just brought it full circle.
No, because sometimes
let me jump in a second. Let me jump in 1 second here. I while we got this hot subject going, I have repeatedly said recently, every dealer in the world needs to hire a competent agency, Google certified. Everybody in the agency. Newspaper's effective if you're training a puppy, but all in all, you need to hire an agency, and you need to take a real hard look at your lead providers. Most of the lead providers now, and I'm talking opinion. Did I say my opinion? That's some legal shit. My opinion, Cars.com, Auto Trader are sinking down in the tar pits, eating their last brown shriveled leaves off the trees. You know, I mean, that just an opinion based on the fact that I have a IQ higher than earthworm. But anyway.
I mean, I think if we look at tying back to your point about the new CRM technologies and talking about one click, I think Google, of course, we all know and have been paying attention to what's going on with inventory listings on Google My Business. Google is gunning for Auto Trader, Cars.com, and Car Gurus.
Oh, especially Car Gurus. Car Gurus is not your friend.
Oh,
listen,
but I think the one click.
Let me say something about attribution, because you have to look at it from their perspective, right?
Why? Why do I have to?
No, I'm saying if you're Cars.com, if you're Car Gurus, Auto Trader, of course you want to get the attribution, right? So it comes down to a dealer. If the dealer is gullible enough to say, yeah, of course, all of them contributed and attributed to the sale. You really have to know your business, right?
As much as I don't like them, TrueCar could always show true attribution to the sale. TrueCar.
Right.
I mean, I don't like those people necessarily.
Let me just throw something in here. Two just quick things. One, because we were talking about attribution, there's a quote so famous that anybody, as I say this, is going to know how it ends. You can't manage what you don't measure. Everybody knows it, right? Yep. That's when it comes to attribution. Two, since you guys are talking about attribution and CRM, I want to give the dealers on here a pro tip, because sometimes we're hard on them. We say what they should do, but not how to actually do it, right? Yeah. So Cars.com and Auto Trader and Car Gurus for the last year have been pushing phone leads into your CRM as internet leads so that you have quality control in your reporting, because they want to count for it. You didn't tell your CRM those were phone leads. They're counting in your reports. They're not being communicated with right. It's free. Test it. Grab the source. It's different for Auto Trader and Cars, but Car Gurus kept that shit together. And go in the back end of the settings using your PM, right? Or a consultant or a skilled person. Flip that to phone leads, because all your shit is wrong for attribution right now.
And can I take that one step further? Because this is what I did when I first started making cuts in those big third parties. And we're talking back to the days that you and I were still competing, B. Yeah. Take that phone log from these companies, compare it to your DMS wholesale sold.
Wait a second. Do what? Say it again. Say it again. Say it again.
So take the phone log that shows the phone numbers that these third-party listing companies sent you as leads, or export it from the back of their software, right? Because you have a log into their dashboard. Export all your wholesale deals for that same time period. So if you're analyzing 3 months, which is the minimum I would expect, 3, 6, whatever, and then compare those two. Because when I did that, and this was many moons ago, because I got forced right in the bad times to make a decision. We can't afford to keep both. Car Gurus wasn't in the mix at that time. Gosh, that's how old this conversation is, but we're still talking about it.
Yeah.
Is that I found that 40% of the phone call traffic they were saying were car buyers, were other dealerships trying to purchase my vehicles via wholesale. And that's just the ones
that was your wholesale. Other dealerships trying to buy your, wow.
Patrick, you probably have a huge issue with that.
Oh my gosh. I'm just so glad you brought this up, because I am absolutely going to do this. I'm absolutely going to do this, because we have not wholesaled more cars in that I can remember that we have in the last 2 months. And they're coming in as leads. They're coming in as Car Gurus leads or something like that.
Listen. So here's how you're going to do it. You're going to export the report either from your CRM.
I wrote it down.
Or from the back end of that third-party platform.
Yep.
You're going to export your sold log, including the phone number.
Yes.
And you're going to you just Excel. This doesn't have to be fancy. You can merge the two sheets together. So long as that phone number is in the same column, folks, then just do a sort, and you're going to see how many doubles pop up
that you actually have.
And I think that's a great tip, and I love when people give tips. Well, I think it's important, first of all, and I think the even broader takeaway from that, kind of expanding on that, is always going back and double checking everything. And
Yeah.
Ronald Reagan said, trust but verify. In this case, you know, a lot of times dealers don't even look at anything, whether it's templates or processes or cadences, until they're going to change products. And even then it's like, well, I don't know. I guess what I would expound on those great tips is you should be doing this all the time in every aspect of the business. And if it's a monthly piece, then it should be a monthly activity that you're making sure, even silly stuff like your phones are actually hooked up the way they're supposed to hook up. You don't know how many times you call in a dealer and the line's not even going there because the provider messed up. So all those things should always be trusted but verified.
Yes.
And that's so a lot of, here's the thing too, you know, and I try not to pitch or push or anything like that. So this isn't just about me, it's about anybody else. In a lot of dealerships, there's not a person who has a skill level or knowledge base to know how to do these things. Forget how to do them, which is where it comes in to have a trusted partner, not vendor, partner, consultant, somebody with that skill set that you can bring in to teach, train, or give you the KPIs that you're supposed to use.
Yes.
That's not a pitch. That's just the truth. There's very few dealerships that have somebody on staff with a true marketing background that's truly AdWords certified, that knows how to run a CRM, that knows both sides of the shady-ass business and knows how to help you do it. And that there are handfuls of us out there that this is what we do. So raise your hand and ask the question. If you have a question and you're like, I'm not trying to hire somebody, use your phone and text me and I'll answer the question. So will any of the people on this call, on this webinar, right?
I'm telling dealers right now, stop spending all of your big advertising budget on lead providers. Start generating your own business. Get a competent agency. Google Ads and Facebook will outperform any of the lead providers every day of the week.
Yep.
I mean, and you know, Facebook is the bomb, and you got to have a competent agency that understands social media marketing, PPC marketing, SEO, and SEM marketing. You got to get a competent agency that can do all that for you. What do you think, Laura? Is that a good idea?
I think that's a great idea.
And Jim, not only a competent agency, but not a social media marketing company that plug and plays the exact same thing for every single market and every single client they have.
I love getting the same tweet.
What they throw the net out in New Mexico, it catches a totally different set of fish than when you throw that net out here in Metro Atlanta. I promise you.
Well, of course
so
it does.
Are you saying there are cookie cutter agencies out there, social media agencies that have the manufacturer in their pocket? Oh no!
Okay, I'm your card.
There are.
The first one out there doesn't even have the manufacturer in their pocket.
That's
and I'm
exactly where I was going.
Because the fact that I'm saying it will let everybody know what I'm talking about. It doesn't even have to have the OEM in their back pocket. They take your money, they cast a net. There is no customization.
No, none.
Your own traffic is not on there. It's the stupidest way to do social media I've ever seen. It's a waste of your money. It's a waste of your time, and it is stupid.
Your ROI is not
agencies
measured properly because you cannot measure the amount of time that your team is putting in to things that do not or will not work in your market. Your team's ROI is just as important on your time as it is on your dollars. Your time ROI is just as important as your dollars.
I have dealers tell me all the time, I know it's crappy, but they get co-op. So I'd rather have a crappy agency that gets co-op for crappy results because I only pay half price for the crap.
And I want to say this because, you know, I know there's agency, and I worked in a dealer group, so I had those agencies that will turn the same stuff for the dealership 3 miles down the road. But I have to say, and I'm not discounting the vendor's responsibility for turning crap. However, again, about owning everything that you're involved in and everything that matters to you. So if my job is to sell cars, I'm going to own everything that goes into doing that. So if I have a vendor who's running crap for me, even though it's a co-op thing and whatever, you can still call those vendors and expect different things from them. If you call them and tell them what you need, tell them what you expect. Don't get me wrong. It'd be great if they all just did it, but get involved with your vendors, talk to your vendors, tell them what you need, tell them what you got going on, inspect what they're putting out there before they launch it. And
oh my gosh, you mean hold your vendors accountable?
Hold your vendors accountable.
Do that.
And I want to say, but you got to participate. There's some dealers too where the vendor is a good vendor, and you can't get that vendor. You can't get the dealer to participate.
Right.
And the vendor can only then do so much. They can go on your website.
That's because I'm sorry, Laura. I just got to jump in. I love what you're saying, but the reason is because they don't know how to talk to their client. They don't understand our business. They want to come in with some cookie cutter word track script, and I have a differing opinion, but most dealerships don't have a me. Like, I don't like a one-stop shop. I don't want all my eggs in the same basket, because the people who are awesome and amazing about on-site SEO don't necessarily know anything about paid or social. They're not an expert there, but I can manage those pieces. If you're a dealership that cannot, and you need that agency, make sure that they speak your language.
Yeah, I'm not defending crappy. I just want to say, I'm not defending crappy vendors.
No, I know.
No, we know.
You do not have to participate in what the OEM, or maybe you do. If you have to, there are some OEMs that say you will absolutely 100% participate in this program with this vendor. You will pay for it. You cannot get out of it. You cannot choose to. But there are a few. But in most cases, you have a choice between a few vendors. You can vet those vendors, get the best one for you, and then put your time in too. Shame on them for not putting the time in to try to connect with you. I mean, I worked in the dealership. We hire all people that have worked in the dealership. So I get you. That's important. I don't want somebody that knows marketing. I want somebody that understands automotive and knows marketing.
Right.
And been in my shoes. Like, however, there's vendors that can do a good job for you if you, as a dealer, also put the time in. The vendor needs to, and so does the dealer. And if you don't like what the OEM's offering you, even if they force you into crap, and normally when they force you into crap, it's like $3.99 a month or something like that. You know what? Write that check as $3.99 as your payment to the OEM to keep them quiet, and then go hire a vendor to go out there and do it yourself, or go hire a vendor out there that will do what you need done for your store, that will understand.
I think there's some add-ons to that. Yeah. And what I mean by that is this, and I have nothing to pitch because I'm unemployed, so I'm pretty unbiased. But I would tell you that there's a two-way street. Everything that's being said here are really good points and takeaways. But if you want that relationship with the vendor that you're dealing with, it has to go both ways. If you expect high things out of them and they deliver, then you also need to have that high back. It has to be a symbiotic relationship. The best dealer groups out there that we worked with, it was always a great symbiotic relationship. And yes, they held us accountable. And yes, they would call out things, and yes, they would stretch us, but at the same time, when in need, they were there indeed as well. And I think the second part is, as a client, it is your responsibility to be accountable for yourself and to look at all these vendors, because there's good ones, there's bad ones, there's in between ones, and there's ones that'll actually be way better if you pushed them the right way and gave them that type of relationship. You'd receive it back. So look, take the time to do it. So many times in so many different areas in all those dealerships that I'd been in, they didn't take the time. It was a very quick thing. And it's like back to that other piece earlier, which is, go back and inspect all of your items all the time. It's not an annual, it's not a semi-annual. It is a continuous verification of what's going on in every area. And if we did that, then you don't have to have the discussions about, oh, this vendor sucks or this guy sucks. It's like the lead providers. Jim, you had a great point. You should be creating your own leads. That's how we did it in my former company. And right now, lead providers, no offense to any of them and no stake in it, but it's the party nobody wants to go to that all have to, right? It's like, you don't want to see everybody there, but you're there anyway. So, I think if people put a little effort in, and to some points that were made here, there are experts out there that you can rely on, and I highly recommend that. There were so many times where experts were brought in, even on the CRM consultation, even on the purchase, even on the servicing. And look, was it fun? Not all the time. Well, there were some that were, and then there are others that were a little difficult. But it made us all better. It made the dealer better. It made us better. It made everybody that participated better.
Right. Well, so keep in mind too, like as everybody's kind of talking about this, that there's a magical. So co-op is a popularity contest. Right? How'd you pick that? 100 dealers did it. Oh, we're letting them pick shit now? The question to ask though is this: it's fine to bury something that's co-op, just like she was saying. It's also okay to ask, if you can manually submit something for co-op that
Bingo.
isn't approved,
Give up a tiny
forget
bit of match
that
money.
part. You can ask that question, and you will be shocked by how many people are not on the approved list. That they go, you can get 50%. There's a 1-to-1 on that. There's this. Just ask. Always ask. Right? Assume.
Well, guess what, kids? As we wind down this show, I got to tell you, in a future show, I've just got an agreement. Mike Gingell from Ford Direct is going to be on as one of the panelists.
Oh, I can't wait. I got some.
Yeah. I got. He's a friend. He's a friend of mine. We're not going to be tough on him.
No, I'll be sweet, but I still will have some questions. I'll be super sweet.
Don't be sweet. You know, but yeah, I got Mike coming up. I got Brian Benstock coming up here in 2 weeks. We got Gino Walsh coming back on as a guest panelist.
We loved having Gino on.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I've got Josh Letsis from Colorado from Chevrolet store coming on. We got a lot of great guest panelists coming on. I was just looking at the list. It's really tremendous what I've lined up. Robert Okanuski from Massachusetts Dealer. Kristen Dillard's going to be on.
Yay!
Raymond, congratulations, Matt Raymond, on your 40 under from Kristen's store.
Kristen Dillard. I've been working with her family. Her father and I go back to 1988 when I started working with that store. So she
was my actual first consulting client too, Jim. She was my very first consulting client.
Next week we got Carrie Wise.
My favorite, one of my absolute favorites.
She's now at Auto FI. Joe St. John's moved on to Stone Eagle. He's coming on.
Wait, Joe St. James moved on to somewhere?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Joe St. John has moved on. Yeah, he's not with Auto FI anymore. He's with Stone Eagle.
Okay.
We got Stephanie Cooper coming on, great friend of mine. Dan Mason. Nice. Michael Cirillo, Brad Wise from Furman Group is coming on, general manager down there in Tampa. So we got a lot of guest panelists coming on in the next couple of weeks that are going to be high powered, as like, oh my God, we got Bill on today. I'm going, holy cow. Wittenmyer needs a job.
Had to move all that stuff around for the Island County Fair, Jim. I appreciate you. Let me come do it.
You hire Bill. Bill needs a job. How was it? Okay, Laura, was it as good for you as it was for me?
Sure, Jim. It was great. I'm not a great liar. No, kidding. Of course.
Did you have a good show?
I'm just excited to see you. We're all just thrilled you're here, Jim. And it's such a blessing that we're having these. So to have you.
Yeah, and I just got another scan a week ago. I'm still cancer free.
Nice.
That's it's all working out well. I mean,
you might really be invincible, Jim. I mean,
I think
the rumor's out there. The rumor is out there.
I think I'm immortal. I looked the devil right. I saw the white light and chose not to walk to it.
Yeah, we weren't having it when that white light was chilling with us. We were like, nah, we're not doing that today.
I spit right in the devil's face. When you're laying on a table and the doctor says, "Hurry up, we're losing him," that'll piss you off.
That'll make you run the other direction, right?
That'll get you. Okay, let's go roll call. Laura, how can I get in touch with you?
So you can email me at laura@cfsearchmarketing.com. You can call me, text me on my personal cell phone, 610-972-2046. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to help you out at any time. This is not a pitch.
Yes, it is. We are allowed to pitch here.
We are allowed to pitch. No,
this is a pitch zone.
Yeah, if there's anything that anybody wants to talk about, with me, wants to look to help. Obviously, we have some amazing consultants on this panel right now, but through Jim Ziegler, I have come to become friends with so many vendors out there, vendors and dealers who are not my clients, and I still talk to a ton of them. They'll call me, text me, ask me to take a look at stuff. So I'd be happy to do that for anybody who is a friend of Jim, is a friend of mine.
I am a great matchmaker in this business. I thank you for bringing that up. Bobbie Herron, Queen of BDC. You got any BDC questions? They can call you. How can they get in touch with you?
So Chelsea will pop my stuff into the comments, but my cell is 989-672-9945. Text is going to be the best. You got anything for BDC or CRM process, anything like that? Hit me up. Never be afraid to shoot me a text and start a conversation. I'm on site a lot, so I don't answer calls. I take everybody's phones away. So shoot me a text. We'll get together.
Fantastic. Briggs.
I'm just sitting here.
How can they get in touch with you? How can people get in touch with you?
They can reach out to me on any social platform. Jennifer Briggs, Next Level Briggs, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or text me at 517-366-0219.
Jennifer, what was that Next level what?
Next Level Briggs.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right. All right.
Next Level Briggs.
Settle down.
Oh, I'm glad you didn't know that, Bobbie.
You'll see. I am.
Here we go. Yeah, there he is, the troll that lives under the bridge.
Right. So listen, as you know, I mostly live in F&I, and
wait, I thought you lived in Pennsylvania.
Right, I live in F&I, but you know, I want to tie this back, you know, not as a pitch. And this is really not a pitch because this is not what I do. But I want to tie this back to digital retail and CRM, right? So in the beginning of the show, you know, someone said that a lot of times vendors don't know what the problem is, right? And the problem is that, in my opinion, there's no post-sale follow-up on the F&I side, right? Because a lot of times customers say no to a VSC or to any other ancillary product, not because they don't want it, but because their guard is up. Right, and they read online that you got to say no to the guy in the box, right? So then, let's say maybe a couple of weeks go by, they take pride in ownership, their guard is down, they're home, right, or they're at work. There should be a post-sale process in any CRM to push an email or a text message to that customer and say, hey, Mr. Customer, here's a code for a 20% off discount because you said no to a VSC, and let them check out right from the phone.
The CRM's got to have a follow-up built in.
Not just from the box, Max. Don't forget the lane.
Right, guys, this is such a low-hanging fruit that it's ridiculous, right? And the profit margin on a VSC sale is bananas. So, you know, I don't know what people that, you know, run CRM companies are thinking by adding these sophisticated features when something in front of you is not being done.
Got to handle the basic blocking and tackling.
That's it.
Automate
Absolutely.
that. So
okay,
easy.
Patrick.
Yes.
How can they get in touch
reach out to me. Reach out to me on social media, mostly on Facebook. Patrick
O'Brien.
You could follow me on Instagram, but it really isn't anything other than memes that I post on there so that my family can't see the shit that I talk on, on social media. So that's not really that exciting, but it's funny. So that's Politics ATL, POLITIX ATL. If you need to get in touch with me directly, just send me a personal message. Last time I put my cell phone number on a broadcast, I started getting all these weird, abusive, inappropriate text messages. Unfortunately,
from Jim?
No, it wasn't from Jim. Luckily, luckily they're not the same ones that you ladies unfortunately get when you put your numbers out there. But still, I wasn't a fan of it.
So nobody does that to me.
But I will, guys. I help. There's a lot of salespeople, managers all over the country that reach out to me often. I will take time at 11 o'clock at night. I will talk to you. I'll walk you through anything I can. If I can't help, I'll point you into somebody who can. But I'm definitely available for anybody, in the automotive industry that needs any kind of advice from me.
Okay. And Bill, how can he get in touch with you? By the way, hire this guy.
First of all, Jim, thank you for having me on. Real honor to be a guest on with these fine folks that I've been around in the industry for a very long time. So you can follow me on LinkedIn. I'm really active there, and also at Billy the Kid Witt. That's WITT on Twitter. You can see the orcas that I was taking pictures of yesterday. Put those up, and maybe a couple of blue ribbons from the Island County Fair this weekend. We'll see.
You're going to win in the county fair.
Good luck
That's
at
right.
the fair, Bill.
Bill,
Okay.
post pictures of the county fair.
Do we have to
Watch
go
out, old ladies.
Like
I'm coming for you.
Oh,
Bill's going to come
golly.
and let his hair down.
Okay, guys, this has been a great show. Would you everybody agree with that? I think
Excellent.
it was an excellent show. Hello, Angela Brady.